A girl accidentally brushed her hand against a guy's arm while walking. Instantly, she started frantically apologizing and pleading with him not to call the cops. The whole crowd of bystanders chimed in too loudly, cursing her out for acting like a creep. Stick with me here. You and I are stepping into an absolutely unbelievable world. Here, any woman touching a guy without his clear permission was legally guilty of harassment, instantly facing a mandatory 2.5-year sentence behind bars. Any girl bold enough to forcibly kiss a guy gets slammed with a 100-year sentence. The strict law also demanded every adult guy find exactly 365 girlfriends. And to actually become a guy's wife, a woman had to pay a massive bride price in the millions. Plus, she had to take on absolutely every single household chore after getting married. This wild setup existed because the male birth rate in this reality was just 1 in 1,000 compared to females. Even with full polygamy legalized, the number of single girls who simply could not find a husband still hit a staggering 6 billion. Right now, as a transmigrator, I sat on my sofa just staring blankly at the news broadcasting these crazy facts. It took a minute to process. Honestly, you and I would be totally shocked too. Before this, I was a completely average 21st century otaku. I was almost 30 and never even had a girlfriend. Who would have guessed that just last night, while watching a video about some ridiculously overpowered web novel hero, I'd fall asleep right after dropping 3 doge emojis in the video comments. When I woke up, boom, I had transmigrated. Suddenly, a super sweet female voice rang out, snapping me right out of my total daze. Brother, the first batch of Mystic World helmets is finally being handed out. Aren't you going to grab yours today? My eyes quickly locked onto the tall, gorgeous young girl standing in the doorway. It was Li Wanqing, my parents' own adopted daughter. I quickly replied that I was actually just getting ready to head out. According to the government's super vague explanations, the sudden massive drop in the male birth rate was caused by a mysterious purple fog that had totally enveloped the entire planet. This fog was forcibly altering human genetics. Mystic World was supposedly the only way to save the male population from completely vanishing. Inside this virtual world, there was something capable of triggering an absolute evolution in the human body, allowing guys to fully resist the purple fog's genetic erosion. Since I was already stuck in this insane world, there was absolutely no way I was missing out on this. I was determined to live my best life. When the time came, I'd marry 100 wives just because I could. I had just stood up ready to head outside when Li Wanqing accidentally bumped into my shoulder, her soft body lightly brushing against mine. Her face instantly turned beet red and she panicked. Brother, I am so sorry, I didn't mean it. I really don't want to be a hooligan. Under the strict laws here, a girl touching any part of a guy's body was legally considered pure hooliganism. I immediately grabbed her soft hand and told her in a dead serious tone, "We are family. There is no need to be so polite with me from now on." You see that, right? Totally understandable that girls want to touch a guy. "You are too good to me, brother," she beamed. I reluctantly let go of her incredibly soft hand and confidently strode right out of the house. The second I stepped outside, my eyes were assaulted by the sight of gorgeous women totally packing the streets. Smoking hot curves and endless long legs were absolutely everywhere. On this planet, literally every single girl had a perfect figure and a gorgeous face. I casually wiped my hot face sternly, reminding myself to just keep it together. So what if the streets are overflowing with beauties? I am a great, immensely precious guy. I must maintain my dignified, cool aura. The moment I made my appearance, the women on the street simultaneously turned their heads, their eyes locking right onto me. I am so happy I actually got to see a man today. I'm so sick of being single. I just want to marry him and take him home. Even if the price is 500,000, I'll pay you no shame. Think you can marry a guy for just 500,000? Seriously, a few days ago someone dropped 75 million just to marry a husband. The bride price and 10 luxury villas were all put in his name. Hearing this wild exchange, I was profoundly shocked. Absolutely shameless. You really think a mere 500,000 is enough to get me? The absolute audacity. A short while later, I finally arrived at the Mystic World Distribution Center. Anyone could claim a helmet, but the first batch was highly limited, and naturally guys had absolute top priority access. Completely ignoring the massive, densely packed crowd in front of me, I fearlessly pushed my way past countless pairs of long legs, risking absolutely everything, and shoved my way right to the very front, completely cutting off a girl to claim that first spot in line. My blatant line cutting sparked immediate anger from the girls right behind me. "Hey, why cut in line?" I just gave a cold smirk. Because I am a man. Trust me, you and I will love this. Let's dive right into this. My voice echoed out loud, booming with total confidence. Hey, just let it go. Guys going first is an ancient tradition. Just let him cut in line, a woman sighed heavily. It is only one guy. You are a woman, why be so petty with a guy? Someone scolded her. Exactly right. Since when do ladies bicker with guys over such totally trivial little things? Dozens of women immediately started defending me. I was so touched I almost teared up. This world is just totally wonderful. The girl handing out gear noticed me, quickly stood up and pulled out a completely different, incredibly sleek-looking item. It was a slick, dark helmet. Hello, sir, this is your special gear. Since you are a precious guy, we must highlight some key safety rules. The second you put this on your mind will fully enter Mystic World. Please make absolutely sure you find a secure spot before logging in. Being forcibly disconnected puts your real physical body in some serious extreme peril. Once inside Mystic World, your personal safety must be your top priority. If you get eliminated inside Mystic World, you will permanently lose the right to ever enter it again. Finally, we truly hope you achieve great success in there. I gratefully squeezed the cute attendant's hand as a quick thank you, then strutted away. Just thinking about exploring Mystic World at midnight sent absolute chills down my spine. Returning home, I gave my sweet adopted sister a grateful hand squeeze, then took a wonderfully long nap. Wow, I nearly slept right through it. A sudden intense racing feeling in my chest jolted me awake. On this planet, guys resting until they literally collapsed from pure exhaustion was a massive hazard. Looking out the window, it was already pitch black outside. Watch closely. The sky was choking with swirling purple fog, a signature nighttime feature. Though this purple fog heavily threatened male survival, it completely forced human genetics to rapidly evolve at an absolutely terrifying pace. Even a totally average person's physical stats now easily surpassed top-tier athletes from my old world. But honestly, those incredible benefits brought absolutely massive disasters. Animals across the planet exposed to this fog had mutated into horrifyingly savage, vicious beasts. "Brother, you are finally awake," Li Wanqing called out. "I accidentally slept too long. I am hungry. Let me go make something to eat," I casually offered. Hearing that, she looked completely horrified. "Brother, how can a guy cook? Let me handle it. I will have food ready in 1 minute." "Oh, right, I completely forgot. In this world, the law dictates women handle all cooking. If a guy is single, his lovely sisters must completely cover it. Making guys do household chores was literally classified as abuse. A very short while later, Li Wanqing happily brought me my hot dinner. "Brother, Mystic World is about to officially open," she gently reminded me. "Please be super careful in there. Hey, do not worry," I said, incredibly smoothly, casually rubbing her small hand again. I know my absolute limits. In the literal blink of an eye, midnight arrived. I slipped the helmet on and was instantly teleported to a starting zone. Apprentice number 19679, welcome to Mystic World. Here is where it gets interesting. Based on your stats, 4 background choices exist. Option 1, Novice Traveler. Trait high agility, great stamina, and absolutely tireless lungs. Option 2, Fitness Apprentice. Trait huge combat talent, possessing overwhelming raw innate physical strength. Option 3, an ordinary villager. Trait high reaction speed, holding a vague special intuition. Option 4, intern doctor. Trait strong healing talent, possessing immunity to certain abnormal status ailments. Just as I started weighing the pros and cons of these 4 options, the voice interrupted. It detected this apprentice possesses ridiculously astronomically high mental talent. Your mental strength way exceeds any ordinary person. Now officially granting a 5th option. Option 5, gifted villager. Trait exceptional reaction speed and observation, possessing a literal 6th sense for seeing danger right before it ever strikes. Wow, just looking at this, it is totally obviously the ultimate premium choice. I immediately locked in option 5. Congratulations on becoming a gifted villager. You will experience vital premonitions during danger and opportunity, the system confirmed. My vision instantly went completely dark. The mysterious voice whispered directly into my ear. You will be randomly teleported to a trial ground. Surviving and escaping this village officially completes the trial. When I finally opened my eyes again, I was suddenly standing inside a foul-smelling pig pen. Bizarre, fully gnawed bones were scattered across the muddy floor. Besides me, about 10 other confused people stood around inside this creepy pen. "Why is it so gloomy and creepy here?" a girl quietly asked, her voice totally trembling with anxiety. The second she stopped speaking, a completely bone-chilling wind swept through our pen, carrying this incredibly unnatural, heavy metallic scent of pure danger. Everyone's expression immediately hardened. Right then, a tall, exceptionally handsome young guy slowly spoke up. "This is likely a horror-themed survival trial. You and I know it." His steady voice somehow instilled a weird sense of trust. "Stick with me here." When all eyes turned his way, he got serious. "In wild scenarios like this, teamwork is everything. We really need to team up, decode this mystery together, and then tackle the actual trial. What do you guys think?" Spawning into this totally bizarre village, honestly, nobody was feeling completely relaxed. The tall guy's teamwork idea perfectly matched everyone's inner thoughts. Several players quickly nodded along and eagerly agreed to it. "Great plan, we absolutely must cooperate." However, a bizarre couple with glowing blue skin mumbled something under their breath, exchanged a mysterious look, and without a single second of hesitation turned around, marched straight out of the pig pen and headed somewhere entirely different. The tall dude shouted for them to return, but they completely ignored him marching forward. Ultimately, he just shook his head, flashing a bitter smile. "Let them walk away. The 9 of us teaming up should be plenty. Let's officially introduce ourselves first. I'm Wang Li." Everyone took turns confidently stating their names, but when it finally reached a tall, short-haired woman, she just let out an icy, dramatic laugh. "My name is Lena, and I only have one quick thing to tell you all. If any sneaky imposters want to pass, absolutely do not mess with me." Saying that, she lifted her foot and stomped down incredibly hard. That massive stone pig trough instantly exploded into jagged pieces. The absolute insane power behind that kick made everyone pale instantly. I secretly guessed she must have unlocked a super rare class 2. A basic fitness apprentice's innate strength trait couldn't possibly be this wildly overpowered, right? Did she actually possess secret intel about this mystic world? Under everyone's hopeful gazes, Lena spoke. "Honestly, the elite exploration legions are the ones getting first-wave access to the mystic world. Because of that, some seriously crucial insider secrets have leaked out. All I can share is these trials are brutal. Trust nobody here. And whatever you do, do not get eliminated. Watch closely now, every single trial batch hides a veteran player." Lena's epic warning dropped massive intel bombs. I mentally highlighted 3 major points. A veteran exists. An imposter is hiding. Trust absolutely nobody. Everyone there instantly cracked the hidden warning in her speech. Suddenly, that friendly team atmosphere turned super weird and heavily paranoid. Right at that ultra-tense moment, the eerie sound of a door creaking open echoed through the completely silent village. Stepping right out from the ruined shack next to the pig pen, a mysterious figure appeared, an old man with skin completely as pale as blank paper. He looked incredibly frail, basically a walking skeleton. His pale skin was completely covered in brown age spots. Deep inside, his hollow eye sockets burned a wild, chaotic energy. He stretched his mouth into a ridiculously bizarre, unsettling smile at us. More outsiders just arrived. "Looks like the real trial is starting." Wang Li bravely stepped forward and politely asked, "Sir, do you live in this village?" The strange old guy stayed totally silent. He just stared deeply at us, letting out another incredibly weird, raspy chuckle. Dealing with the old man's incredibly intense and unsettling stare, one girl nervously asked, "Sir, what exactly are you staring at?" The old guy giggled. "I'm just observing how you all get eliminated later." We all felt that chill, right? Goosebumps erupted on everyone's skin. The system prompt was crystal clear. To survive, understanding this mysterious village was crucial. This strange guy was our very first clue. But honestly, given his creepy attitude, it seemed unlikely he would ever cooperate with our group. Right when Wang Li was preparing to speak with him again, another mysterious door creaked wide open. This time, a cheerful, kindly old guy stepped out. After that, several more village doors opened. A mother and daughter, an elder, and a massive lady. Over 10 different households eventually emerged. Wang Li took a deep breath, thinking, "Wow, these folks look way more normal than that first spooky guy. They should be significantly easier to chat with." I bravely took the initiative and asked the friendly-looking grandpa, "Sir, we are totally new to this village. How exactly do we get out?" The old man smiled and replied, "If you truly want to escape, there are 2 ways. First, just survive in this village for 7 days. After 7 whole days, a magical day will happen where the sun never sets. You leave then. Second option, resolve the strange phenomenon haunting this village." Makana, a tall guy, looked completely stunned. "It's that simple? Suddenly, the large woman standing a short distance away let out a super loud gulp. Her greedy eyes swept across our group like she was appraising premium cuts of steak. Finally, her intense gaze locked onto me. My scalp went entirely numb, mentally screaming for help. What kind of utter madness is this place? Lena, the calmest of the bunch, confidently stepped forward. Sir, what exactly is this bizarre phenomenon? The old man smiled. Anyone sleeping outside at night without a proper room will mysteriously vanish forever. This has been happening here for literal decades. We honestly don't know why. If you solve it, you leave. Instantly, Lena's calm face heavily darkened. Total nonsense! How can we fix a mystery with zero clues? You and I both know surviving those 7 days is their only realistic option right now. Let's watch what happens. After our group quickly talked, Wang Li politely asked, Sir, can we board at your houses? Sure, each house takes exactly one person, the elder explained. But to stay, you must accept their specific rule. Let us jump into this completely wild mystery together. The exact moment he finished speaking, every single villager around them broke into terrifying, predatory smiles. That raw hunger and dark anticipation in their eyes were completely undisguised. The supposedly kind old man grinned widely and reminded everyone, there is just an hour before dark. You better go negotiate with them now, because if it gets dark and you have nowhere to stay, you will be totally eliminated. Hearing that chilling warning, nobody could just sit still. A pale girl hurriedly stepped up and asked, Sir, I want to stay at your house. Hearing her desperate request, the old man bared his teeth. His cheerful expression suddenly shifted completely. My place is completely out of lamp oil. You must go to the grocery store on the very next street over and fetch me some oil. Then you can stay night one. The young girl looked absolutely thrilled. This genuinely sounded like an incredibly simple fetch quest to her. She instantly agreed, but a few veteran players couldn't help chuckling, staring right at her with eyes full of pure pity. The girl suddenly realized something was very wrong and desperately tried to backtrack. Sir, maybe I should ask the other houses first. The elder firmly shook his head. Once agreed, you cannot back out. Otherwise, absolutely nobody will ever take you in. If you want to change houses, you will just wait until tomorrow night. The pale girl had zero choice but to swallow her massive regret and step back. Right then, the heavy woman smiled creepily at him. Hey, handsome, want to stay at my place? He forced a smile and asked, Miss, what is your exact condition? The large woman wiped away the nasty drool continuously leaking from the corner of her mouth. Just let me bite off one piece of you every single day, that works. Do not be scared, I won't consume you entirely. Just one piece daily. I'll slice very carefully, it won't hurt much. Instant chills shot down his spine. Eat dirt, he thought, but he didn't dare say it out loud, totally terrified of provoking this absolute freak. He forced a highly strained laugh. I'll definitely pass, ma'am. I really don't want to become dinner. Maybe try asking someone else. Now pay attention here. Everyone just realized a horrifying truth. Completing these very basic lodging conditions could easily get them permanently erased. Suddenly, a calm female voice spoke up. It was the quietest woman in their group of 9. She was heavily built, yet undeniably and absolutely gorgeous. She coldly marched right up to that large woman. Quick as lightning, she shot her hand forward and fiercely clamped it around the woman's throat. I will just eliminate you. Then I can take your house, right? Everyone was stunned, but she was right. Why even bother negotiating with these freaks? There were zero laws inside this wild, mystic world. However, that incredibly naive fantasy was swiftly and brutally shattered by those villagers. The large woman, despite being fully choked, began clapping her hands joyfully. She looked toward the elder and loudly squealed, Ha! She officially attacked first. Village chief, can I consume her now? The creepy old man gave a slight nod. Before the exceptionally tall, strong woman who initiated this attack could even react in a tiny fraction of a second, her head was squeezed completely until it popped like a messy water balloon. Her headless body was quickly dragged inside the house. Immediately, the intensely shrill, grating sound of a massive knife being sharpened echoed right from within. The village chief looked at the remaining group.
You cannot stay at that house anymore,
he stated calmly. You saw that too, right? The sheer speed of that ruthless elimination left everyone standing completely frozen and shell-shocked. Waves of intense terror crashed down. One woman was genuinely so scared she actually wet her pants. The only single person who managed to keep her cool was Lena. She calmly looked around as if absolutely nothing had happened. Her sharp gaze landed on the old woman. "What exactly must I do to secure your house?" The lady replied, "I am totally out of water. You must help me fetch water from the well in the direct center of the village. Simply fill up my water vat before tomorrow arrives." Lena quietly glanced at the moss-covered vat in front of the old woman's door and simply nodded. "I will stay at your house." The rest of the terrified group, finally snapping completely out of their shock, walked up to the various houses with pale faces desperately asking for lodging conditions. Knowing these villagers could casually erase them if provoked made everyone's heart feel incredibly heavy. Compared to whatever bizarre phenomenon happens at night, these strange villagers definitely felt more immediately dangerous. Blindly following the rules and securing a safe place to sleep was the absolute most critical priority now. Although he had not moved yet, he was carefully observing the villagers. When he considered asking the mysterious village chief for his condition, an overwhelming, totally suffocating aura of extreme danger radiated off him. That oppressive feeling practically screamed, "And you and I know picking the chief means an absolute game over." This totally had to be his special ability at work, his literal sixth sense. He continued scanning the massive crowd, desperately trying to find the villager with the lowest danger aura. You and I are jumping in exactly when our guy realizes the least scary person is actually the creepy, pale-faced, skeleton-like old man. Approaching him, I asked, "Mister, what can I do to earn a room for the night?" The eerie old man answered, freezing cold, "Debt collection. Plenty of villagers owe me big time. Get payback from just one of them and you get a room." Collect debts from these absolute literal monsters? My stomach totally dropped. Is my gut instinct playing tricks? After pausing, I trusted my power. Accepting his crazy terms, I stepped right inside. The old geezer casually threw a wrecked ledger down. I checked page 1. Village chief owes half a caddy of lamp oil. I immediately turned the page. Whatever happens, I was absolutely refusing to go anywhere near that insanely dangerous village chief. Absolutely no way. Blacksmith Zhao owes 5 caddies of meat. The widow and her son owe 20 wood bundles. The crazy book had 20 super bizarre entries. Watching the others totally panicking to finish their insane quests before nightfall, I weighed my options and decided to visit Blacksmith Lee for the meat debt. Very soon I reached the blacksmith's workshop. Outside the shop, a modernly dressed teenager was talking with a massive 2-meter-tall giant. Once the teen finally left, I hurried over and asked, "Are you Blacksmith Lee?" He glared right at me. "Kid, you trying to score a room here too?" Did that literally mean the kid before me was also trying to score lodging? The crazy part is I had never seen him before. That means way more players are stuck in this village trial than our group. But I had zero time to panic. Skipping the small talk entirely, I explained, "Not at all, Boss Lee. I am here getting a debt for that creepy old guy. You owe 5 caddies of meat. Now pay attention here because this is where everything flips." Blacksmith Lee's face darkened and his giant eyes suddenly started glowing a terrifying red. Veins and massive muscles bulged grotesquely right before my very eyes. Suddenly, an overwhelming premonition of my total destruction crashed over me. Panicking hard, I threw my hands up and shouted out loud, "If you refuse to pay it back, that is completely fine." The exact second I said that, Blacksmith Lee slowly calmed down, returning to normal size. He said evenly, "Since he sent you, I'll pay." I was totally overjoyed, but his very next sentence shoved me off a cliff. "However, you have to trade the actual meat on your own body. 5 caddies for 5 caddies. No need, Brother Lee, I am way too skinny and fragile. If you cut me, I will absolutely be finished. That old guy has plenty of other debts I can collect." This was literally demanding my end. If this gigantic blacksmith actually tried to harvest my flesh, there was absolutely no way I could escape. Surprisingly, he thought for a moment. He let out a sinister chuckle, pulled out a razor-sharp boning knife, and tossed it toward me. "Take this knife right to the butcher's house on the east side for me. Do that, and I will hand over those 5 caddies of meat. Plus, I will gift you a small dagger for your hard work." My vision went dark. "I know you're thinking the same thing. Delivering this knife is an impossible mission." Trembling uncontrollably, I picked up the knife. Instantly, system information popped up. Specially forged sharp boning knife. Never get slashed by it. One careless mistake means getting sliced in half. Next, information about the small dagger right next to it suddenly flowed in. Exquisite short dagger crafted by Blacksmith Lee. An absolutely excellent weapon for basic self-defense. I could only grit my teeth and march east. At the same exact time, all the other players were desperately trying to complete their own conditions. The pale-skinned girl was standing right outside the grocery store. Following the village chief's strict instructions, she told the owner, "I am here buying lamp oil for the village chief." The owner was a gaunt, middle-aged guy. Slouching lazily in his chair, he asked lethargically, "Where is the trade item?" The girl looked totally confused. "What trade item?" The middle-aged dude opened his mouth, revealing two terrifying, elongated, sharp fangs. "If you don't have anything, I will just grind you into oil. When I finish, I'll send half to him." Elsewhere, Machina stood outside the pig pen, dumping mysterious slop he found right into the trough. But the black pigs showed absolutely zero interest. Machina was completely baffled. "Why aren't these pigs eating?" Suddenly, a super low, guttural voice echoed out. "Because we want to eat your meat." Machina totally froze, looking around wildly. He quickly realized the creepy voice came directly from one of the black pigs. You and I just witnessed pure insanity as those pigs contorted their faces into terrifying human-like expressions. They opened their massive, fang-filled mouths and lunged at him. "Stick with me here." I stood near the butcher's house, staring at his front door in absolute shock. Super creepy stuff hung dangling from the hooks. Gross piles of mystery meat sat on a stall. Honestly, in my mind, I had already cursed Blacksmith Lee and his whole family completely out. That guy totally sent me here for doom. Deliver the knife and then what? Let him defeat me and hang me on that stall. The closer I crept to the butcher's house, the more my totally intense instincts screamed at me to just run. But gloomy storm clouds were already gathering over our village. Being caught outside without shelter after dark meant game over. Yet delivering a scary knife to a mysterious butcher also felt exactly like knocking on doom's door. Suddenly, the giant wooden door swung right open. A huge, cold-faced guy holding a sharp knife stepped outside. Seeing nobody there, he turned and stomped off in another direction. I was ecstatic. The blacksmith's simple rule was just to deliver the knife to the house, not actually hand it to the guy himself. Without even thinking, I sprinted straight inside, slammed the shiny knife onto a massive, messy table, and turned to run away super fast. But right as I tried to escape through the doorway, the heavy wooden door slammed shut with a massive bang. A weird voice echoed, "Who are you? How dare you sneak into my house to steal?" I spun around and almost jumped totally out of my skin. Now pay attention here. Standing there was a strange kid with blank, completely white eyes rocking a mysteriously weird face that honestly looked super spooky. It was the butcher's son. Not wanting any drama, I grabbed the door handle to yank it open only to find it completely stuck, feeling exactly like trying to pull a massive boulder weighing thousands of pounds. I couldn't believe this kid was that strong. I was sweating bullets. If the scary butcher returned, I was totally ruined. "I am no thief, I just brought a knife for Uncle Lee the blacksmith," I quickly and nervously explained. The pale child looked at the shiny knife and slowly nodded twice. Seeing this, I quickly asked, "Can you open the door for me, kiddo?" The child simply shook his head. I felt so frustrated, but I forced a bright, cheerful smile and asked really gently, "Why not?" "My dad always tests the knives out. If it doesn't work perfectly, he will completely wreck you for sure. If you escape, he will take his huge anger out on me." "Don't worry, though. He just went to buy some things. He will be back super soon." Hearing this just made me panic way harder. "Kiddo, please open it." "I'll buy you some yummy food." "But I cannot open my mouth." "I hate eating the most," the strange child replied, slightly parting his weird toothless mouth that totally looked like it had been bizarrely stitched together with needle and thread. A massive shudder ran completely through me. This butcher was unbelievably harsh to his son. What hope did an outsider have? I could basically see myself lying on that messy table, completely defeated and strung right up on those creepy little display hooks. "Kiddo, how about we play hide and seek?" I blurted out, a clever survival plan forming in my head. "We can totally play while we wait for your dad." The child perked up. "Yes, I love hide and seek, but I always have to play by myself here." "Okay, you be the fun seeker and I will hide. Find me." The child nodded eagerly. "Okay, I will be the seeker." "Great. Now turn around, close your eyes, and count to 20 out loud. You cannot start looking for me until you finish counting to 20. "No problem. I will close my eyes, count to 20, then find you. You and I both know my real plan here, seeing the kid take the bait." I exhaled. "But hey, kiddo, your house is way too small to hide in. How about you open the door? I will hide somewhere right next to the house and you can come outside to find me." I gently suggested, testing the waters. The child completely froze. "You aren't planning on running away, are you?" I just laughed super awkwardly. "How could I? I never lie to people. I promise I will wait right by the house." Okay then, I will open the door. The little child agreed, nodding. Oh, right, mister, if I catch you, I am totally going to turn you into a toy. Saying this, that hollow, stitched-up mouth twisted into an incredibly spooky grin. The hair on my arms stood straight up. I hurried to open the door. Right as I was about to step outside, I caught a quick glimpse of that massive, scary figure lumbering down the alley toward us. I didn't hesitate for a single second. Deal, I shouted loudly. Now turn around and close them. The kid beamed brilliantly, turned around, and began counting out loud. 1, 2, 3. That hollow, echoing voice continued counting, but I was already running away like my legs were on fire. I had spotted the massive butcher clutching his sharp knife in the alley. That huge monster had noticed me. By the time I sprinted back to Blacksmith Lee's little shop, I was so totally exhausted I could barely stand. Panting super heavily, I loudly called out, "Uncle Lee, delivery done." I played it completely cool while mentally cursing Lee, and that is where we stop. Trust me, you absolutely must see what happens next. You and I are jumping right into this mystery. Uncle Lee just stood there completely stunned. I made it back in one piece, sizing me up.
You delivered it without losing a limb? He asked.
Catching my breath, I explained the butcher was out, so his kid took the knife instead.
You've got wild luck, kid, he mumbled. All right then, since you finished the job, take these.
He popped inside and tossed me a bag of fatty pork plus some strange mystery item carefully wrapped up tightly in a piece of old leather. Catching the food, a huge sigh escaped me. I finally met the condition to get a room for tonight. But right before I could unwrap that second item, Uncle Lee let out this incredibly creepy, sinister little chuckle. Friendly warning. The sun sets completely in 2 or 3 minutes, but running to that old guy's place. That trip is definitely taking more than 2 or 3 minutes. You jerk! Why didn't you warn me earlier? All the color instantly vanished right out of my face. The second my brain clicked, I snatched the leather item and the meat sprinting like an absolute madman toward that eerie old man's wooden shack. Dashing past thick weeds and broken-down shacks, glowing crimson eyes started popping out of the pitch-black darkness, staring intensely right at my racing figure. Pure terror hit me so hard my spirit nearly ejected. Watch closely now. I practically prayed for a third leg just to sprint away way faster. Thank goodness. After that frantic, wild dash, I finally saw the rotting wooden shack with its weak, flickering yellow light, the creepy guy's house. 10 meters left. Even with my mind totally fried, a massive wave of pure relief and sweet salvation washed right over me. Right at the exact second I opened my mouth to shout, a raspy, ear-piercing voice, dripping with sheer manic excitement, hissed directly from right behind my freezing back. "Mister, I caught you." Instantly, 2 massive, freezing cold hands clamped onto my ankles like absolute steel vices. I struggled with everything I had, but my body wouldn't budge even a single inch. My instincts screamed like crazy, warning me of total game over. Is this it? Is my journey actually coming to an end right here? Pushing out every last ounce of remaining strength, I roared at the shack. "Sir, I brought your stuff back." I finished the condition. Right as a suffocating metallic scent was about to swallow my face, a simple, "Oh my," suddenly echoed out. The heavy wooden door slowly creaked open. A super weak, flickering yellow light spilled out directly onto the dark path ahead. That foul metallic aura hovering by my face vanished instantly. The creepy guy stood right in the doorway, glaring down coldly. He honestly looked a bit disappointed. "You know what happens next, right?" His eyes locked onto the pork. "Come in," he muttered, completely empty of any emotion. Fighting my jelly-like legs, I awkwardly limped straight into his gloomy little house. The second that door clicked shut, I totally collapsed onto the stinky wooden floorboards, gasping wildly for air. That's when I noticed massive patches of skin on my paralyzed legs had turned totally pitch black. Peering closer, they were shaped exactly like 2 huge, creepy handprints. The creepy guy just gave a freezing cold snort and literally snatched the meat away. Lucky, he grumbled. Yeah, unbelievably lucky, I thought to myself. If I had been even 1 single second slower out there, it would be a permanent game over. So this happens when you don't find shelter at night. But seriously, what on earth was that bizarre thing? Sitting inside for half an hour, my racing heart and totally fried nerves finally chilled out. This weird old guy's wooden place was seriously unbelievably empty. Besides one busted wooden bed, there were only a few random rotting household items scattered around. The house was completely pin-drop quiet. The only light came from a sputtering oil lamp throwing creepy, unsteady shadows all over the tiny space. The creepy homeowner kept completely quiet, and there was absolutely zero chance I was brave enough to start a chat. Suddenly, a spine-chilling, absolutely agonizing scream ripped right through the silent village outside. "Help, open the door, save me, please don't." The screaming instantly snapped off. Then the entire village went back to eerie silence. Obviously, someone failing their shelter task was just ruthlessly eliminated out in the dark. Remembering those glowing crimson eyes, a violent shudder racked my tired body. Totally terrified and spooked, I just let out a heavy, defeated sigh. Even if I wanted to help, I had zero power to save anyone. A long, quiet time passed. Then my empty stomach growled loudly. "Sir, can you possibly spare something to eat?" I asked politely, eyeing some mysterious chunk of food on his table. When starving, you really cannot afford to act picky. The old guy stayed completely silent, making it super obvious. The answer was a huge no. "Sir, do you know what those weird things outside actually are?" I pushed again. Just more heavy silence. Message received loud and clear. This creepy dude literally couldn't care less about acknowledging my existence. Totally helpless, I just leaned back against the cold wall, quietly resting. "Stick with me here. We just have to survive until morning, then I'll find food. Too much crazy stuff happened today." I needed time to process everything, figuring out this bizarre mystery so I could survive tomorrow. Who knows how long passed, eventually the oil lamp simply burned out. Let's dive right into this mystery. The light faded out and this super weird, heavy exhaustion washed right over my entire body. I shook my head hard, desperately fighting to stay awake, but this crazy sleepiness felt totally unnatural, like it was forced on me. No matter what, pushing back felt absolutely impossible. All I really wanted was to drop my heavy head and sink into peaceful sleep. Even though my instinct screamed this sleepiness was super weird, my brain was totally crashing, unable to form any clear, coherent thoughts. This strange daze almost made me completely forget the spooky mystery. Just as I was teetering on the edge, my sixth sense flared up, and an icy chill suddenly jolted me totally wide awake. I glanced outside. Pushed against every tiny crack of the windows were countless glowing crimson eyes of all sizes, completely staring right at me inside this crazy, creepy room. Noticing that I was fully awake, they vanished in a split second, leaving behind a major sense of shock and super spooky vibes. It was exactly like they were never even there. What in the world were those bizarre eyes? Now pay close attention here. If my sixth sense hadn't warned me, those strange glowing things would have totally smashed inside and wrecked my entire survival run for real. Could those be the bizarre mysteries haunting this village? Were they literally spying to check if I slept? The weird sleepiness vanished instantly, completely replaced by pure shock and intense alarm. Suddenly a soft whoosh echoed quietly through the air. Yep, it was that totally super creepy old man. He was actually adding more lamp oil. I watched his totally white blank eyes suddenly lock onto me. "I honestly did not expect you to stay awake," he rasped. My eyes narrowed suspiciously. I paused for a quick second before cheerfully asking, "Sir, does the total darkness actually make a person's sleepiness multiply like crazy inside this strange house?" The spooky old guy froze, giving me a super deep look, but stayed completely quiet. Bingo, I totally guessed right. Him ignoring the broken lamp definitely meant he had some seriously shady bad intentions from the very start. We fell back into a tense silence. Finding those glowing crimson eyes seriously shook me up completely. The sheer weirdness of this mysterious village absolutely beat anything I ever imagined. Suddenly, I flashed a super confident smile and cheerfully said, "Hey sir, I really want to understand what is happening in this village. Share some clues and maybe we can actually solve these wild mysteries plaguing your town." "Solve the weird events in the village?" he asked. The guy's pale face darkened ominously. "You will face a terrible fate." As expected, asking him honestly yielded absolutely no helpful answers whatsoever. "I know what you're thinking, but I already had my answer." His dramatic reaction basically confirmed a wild theory I was forming. Nobody said a single extra word for the entire night. It was totally impossible to say I wasn't sleepy, but every time I closed my eyes, those crimson eyes flashed brightly, forcing me to grit my teeth and power through the heavy exhaustion until dawn. Once the creepy old guy finally fell asleep, my intense anxiety quickly faded, and I happily drifted off to catch some much-needed rest. My sleep was super restless. A loud, sudden scream totally snapped me awake. Seeing I was still in one piece and totally fine, my first reaction was a massive, happy sigh. I safely survived the very first day I looked up at the bright sunlight streaming into the house. After a quick moment of thought, I decided to step outside and check the situation. I looked around and my expression instantly dropped. The quiet village bathed in bright sunlight looked incredibly desolate and pale. Zero birdsong and zero chirping bugs. The heavy atmosphere felt exactly like an abandoned hospital. Now the broken wooden doors and windows from yesterday were completely covered with strange red marks. The dirt paths were totally scattered with weird, bare remains everywhere, looking super chaotic and wild. Mud and messy crimson stains splattered everywhere, creating a super chaotic, wild obstacle course. I stared at it all in shock, breathing fast. Soon 2 familiar figures emerged from a nearby house. One of them was definitely Lena. She looked right at me and bluntly stated, "Looks like just 4 survivors remain." Suddenly, Wong covered her mouth, gasping in total shock. "Lena, your arm." "It is nothing," Lena replied calmly. "I lost it yesterday fetching our water. I had definitely noticed it the exact moment she walked out." Lena's arm and chest were stained a strange metallic red. Her hand was totally missing. Wong asked, her voice sounding super worried. "How will you finish today's mission looking like that?" Lena stayed totally and completely silent. "They never actually meant for us to pass easily," she said. Suddenly a loud voice echoed down the completely deserted road. The 4 of us quickly turned around. 7 or 8 people were walking closer toward us. "So what do you and I make of this twist?" A tall woman stepped up and announced they were participants from the other 2 trial groups. "Come along with me," Yang Qingchan confidently declares she wants to gather everyone to discuss our next crazy action plan. After yesterday's absolute nightmare, we all silently and completely agreed on that. Regarding the existence of other trial groups, I actually spotted subtle clues yesterday, so I wasn't totally shocked. The 12 remaining survivors from our 3 groups circled up while Li Nao looked around and spoke first. She basically says nobody wants to endure those awful lodging conditions again, right? So let's discuss the other 2 options. Solving this village's completely bizarre phenomenon or finding an exit. First, does anyone have solid information on what is causing these weird events? The whole room goes absolutely silent. "I know a little," a voice whispers. Suddenly, a stunningly gorgeous woman covered head to toe in serious bruises raises her hand. All eyes instantly shift over. "Yesterday, I finished my lodging condition with a drunkard," she slowly explained. Her pale face grew even paler as she continued, voice trembling. "He told me a secret. Every single villager here just wants to consume us while strictly staying within the weird boundaries of these rules. Are you seeing this? That massive intel bomb just amplified our already terrified group's absolute panic to a completely new level." Following that intense silence, everyone realized they honestly believed her. Considering the relentless village horrors and everything we actually faced, her wild claim somehow made perfect twisted sense. I firmly believe they cannot just attack randomly. They basically use the process of completing these bizarre conditions as a lame excuse to eliminate us completely. Yang Qingchan perfectly voiced the dark theory quickly forming in everyone's minds. Does anybody else have any extra information or specific things we definitely need to watch for? Several brave people immediately started to speak up. 2 poor people from my group visited the grocery store and literally vanished. It is best to absolutely avoid that place. Even though we simply cannot go out at night, I totally noticed the villagers can. One by one, people nervously offered really useful info. After thinking for a quick moment, I threw in my personal observation. It is incredibly crucial to keep a light on. If the light breaks, people definitely fall asleep way faster. And once you are asleep, those creepy villagers will not hold back at all. I highly recommend everyone craft a backup torch. Expressions grew incredibly grave. It was highly likely many players tragically got eliminated last night precisely because of this. Yang Qingchan slowly nodded in agreement. As for my own personal theories regarding the actual root cause of these horrors, brilliant deductions made thanks to my exceptional observation skills. Even though I held solid clues and strong suspicions, I quietly kept them completely hidden for now. Seeing nobody else had anything extra to add, Yang Qingchan simply continued. "It clearly seems we will not uncover the full truth in just one day. Let us prioritize finding an escape route first. We can freely discuss gathering more information later. What does everyone think?" After all, the core objective of this trial was to survive and actually escape the village, not to blindly survive for 7 whole days like claimed. This awesome proposal won totally unanimous approval. However, the village was massive and surrounded by thick, dense fog, perfectly obscuring our vision. Finding that exit would obviously take significant time, so the 12 of us split into 4 search parties. Each group of 3 would search completely independently and eagerly reconvene right here in 2 hours. I got teamed up with Lena and a fierce woman with long black hair. Conveniently, we were already somewhat acquainted, feeling much less awkward. The 3 of us just walked in total silence, carefully scanning our surroundings. Out of nowhere, Lena quickly looks at me and bluntly asks, "What was your name again?" Her sudden random question really caught me off guard. My name is Kai Shukun. A sheer wild coincidence that I shared a name with a massive megastar on this planet. Lena honestly thought I was totally lying. I know you feel this tension. She fiercely rolls her eyes, demanding I stop playing dumb because she clearly knows I am hiding huge secrets here. My special ability totally tells me you hold the most information out of everyone here, she declares. I stare at Lena in absolute shock. I never expected her to possess a wild ability like that. Her claim yesterday about imposters clearly came from this exact power. Lena's bold accusation made the black-haired beauty stare incredibly intensely at me too. If we cannot find an exit, I will definitely share it later, I admitted. It is not something I can handle alone. Lena calmly nodded, choosing not to press the issue further. The black-haired beauty gave me a long, calculating look, staying completely silent. Our nervous trio continued the search. At the far eastern edge of the village lay a dense forest. An incredibly powerful instinct loudly screamed at me that if we entered those spooky woods, we would absolutely never survive. Lena and the black-haired woman clearly sensed the insane danger too, showing absolutely zero desire to risk it. Obviously, there was no exit in this direction. We conferred briefly and wisely decided to head back. As we casually passed a completely dilapidated ruined house, I suddenly stopped dead. Trust me, you and I definitely want to see what wildly critical move happens next. Lena raises an eyebrow. Let's dive in, just speak up, the dark-haired girl echoed. I didn't hesitate, staring at the creepy abandoned house. Inside, massive spider webs covered absolutely everything. The ground was totally scattered with eerie remains, including a seriously messy, totally wrecked traveler. It was probably some poor guy who missed curfew yesterday and tried hiding in this exact same little shack. Looking right up into the ceiling, we spotted a gigantic dark red web. Hanging up there was a huge 2 to 3 meter shadow, a humanoid spider. Its head looked totally human, but its mouth was absolutely packed with razor-sharp fangs, plus 8 crazy long legs. Spotting this totally wild monster, both Lena and the dark-haired girl completely lost their color. Without wasting a single second, they grabbed me and yanked me straight out of that house. Are you completely out of your mind? You seriously want us battling the wild monsters in this village? I spoke calmly. If we fail to find an exit, we won't last 7 days. This is our best shot. I am 50% sure we can defeat it right now. The dark-haired girl and Lena exchanged glances. 50% odds were not bad. Compared to handling those totally unhinged villagers, battling this wild thing felt like heaven. Lena and the dark-haired girl thought it over for a second before answering. Let us head back. If there is absolutely no exit, we will agree to try battling it. Watch this. When our dynamic trio returned to the meetup point, both other groups were already there. Their results were exactly like ours, totally dead ends. All we could honestly do was wait for young Qingchan. A few minutes later, she came sprinting right toward us. Her very first sentence filled our whole squad with ecstatic joy. We finally found the exit, but hesitated. She added, her brow frowning deeply. That collective joy instantly vanished into completely crushing disappointment. At the very edge of the village, there is a thick black fog. We scouted it quickly, but felt way too scared, so I returned alone to gather everyone. Let us all go check out the crazy situation together. Half an hour later, a tiny path appeared from the dense forest. The mysterious exit was completely hidden by pitch-black fog. A seriously terrible sour smell wafted out from inside. Young Qingchan's original trio had been sadly reduced to just her and one guy. Realizing the other girl from her squad was completely missing, young Qingchan just had to ask, "Where is she?" After you left, she could not resist peeking inside. "She has not returned," the guy answered. You feel that this shocking twist made everyone turn totally pale. Lena somehow stayed perfectly calm. She boldly stepped out from the crowd and approached the foggy edge. She carefully stuck her hand inside, feeling absolutely no sudden danger. Then she bravely stepped halfway into it. A tiny moment later, Lena returned. "I think I spotted 8 huge yellowish-white doors a bit ahead, but definitely no sign of your missing friend. Maybe she walked straight through one of those doors." Could those strange doors be the real exit? Young Ching-chan nodded, totally agreeing with that bold assessment. I suggest we go in together. Even with danger, having this many people gives us a solid chance. All 12 surviving teens fell into deep thought. If they had not known that staying all 7 days meant a guaranteed game over, nobody would have seen this exit as their single lifeline. Let us just go look. If it feels bad, we simply retreat immediately. Most of the eager group totally agreed with this. Young Ching-chan smiled, ready to speak, when I suddenly interrupted. I am not going in there. My surprise refusal stunned them all. My sixth sense was loudly screaming. Right as I almost agreed, my instincts totally flared up with a major warning of extreme danger. Young Ching-chan did not push the issue at all. Instead, she gently said, if nobody returns in half an hour, I will enter. Wait, she just suggested our whole team go together. Ultimately, only 2 people actually stayed outside, me and the quiet, long-haired dark lady. The rest of our squad slowly ventured deep into that mysterious fog. Everyone felt super hopeful but extremely careful. Step by step, they walked about 10 meters ahead. The closer they pushed toward those strange doors, the more they felt this was no real exit. Many felt their hair completely stand on end but still chose to bravely press forward. Finally, they hit the doors. Standing right before those towering 1 to 2 meter white doors, someone tried pushing one open with absolute full strength but found it would not even budge an inch. I swear this looks exactly like a giant tooth that got magnified 1,000,000 times, one guy mumbled. The exact second he spoke, a wildly strange booming voice echoed out loudly. Absolutely wonderful. So many tasty treats to enjoy. Wonderful. Hearing this creepy voice, the color completely vanished from everyone touching those weird white doors. Immediately after, those weird white doors began shaking violently. It is a trap, run! Young Ching-chan totally reacted, the fastest screaming at the very top of her lungs. The shocked squad snapped back to reality and sprinted madly towards safety. Just as Young Ching-chan turned to sprint away, a massive row of white doors suddenly crashed down. And trust me, with one giant snap, she and 3 unlucky teammates who tripped were completely swallowed whole. Stick with me here. Li Na was the very first to burst out of that black fog. 4 others followed right behind, running frantically. Even after clearing that fog, these 5 survivors did not dare stop. They sprinted over 100 meters before finally looking back at the black fog. Their souls were practically ripped right out in absolute terror. The black-haired woman and I exchanged a quick glance. We both felt incredibly lucky we did not go inside, then walked over to them. What happened? Where is Yang Ching-chen? I asked. Anyone who did not make it out is gone. It was a trap, Li Na said coldly, regaining her total composure. There is a massive, horrifying monster inside. Those white doors were actually its giant teeth. My sixth sense had been completely right. The survivors, totally pale and gasping, collapsed right on the ground to rest. Several minutes later, as their bodies finally started recovering, one man suddenly cried out in total despair. We cannot use that exit. Does that mean we really must survive here for the full 7 days before leaving? What if we still cannot leave after 7 whole days? These 2 demoralizing questions plunged the entire group's morale right into the abyss. I sighed. The space grew totally silent. After a short while, Li Na finally turned to me. The exit is completely blocked off. Now, can you tell us how we are supposed to pass this trial? Hearing this question, everyone stared at me in pure disbelief. Li Na, what do you mean? He knows how to actually pass this trial. I sighed heavily. I never expected things to turn out quite like this. If I had known people were going to be lost, I would have spoken sooner. My response instantly ignited a blazing fire of hope in their eyes. Before I say anything, I have one condition. After you hear this crucial information, everyone must follow my orders completely. As long as we get out, we will follow you. For people desperately clinging to a lifeline, this was an easy sell, I continued. Now pay close attention here. My method is eliminating the village's anomaly source. In reality, there was never any bizarre phenomenon in this village to begin with. The villagers' words were just a smokescreen to mislead us. They force us to choose to stay for 7 days, then wait until we are fast asleep to eliminate us completely. Therefore, there is no abstract phenomenon. The villagers themselves are the bizarre phenomenon. Hearing this massive reveal, everyone shivered uncontrollably. So the only way to eliminate the anomaly's source and pass the trial is to completely defeat every single villager. I based this wild deduction entirely on my experiences from last night. First were the anomalies that appeared right at nightfall. Last night, right after dark, when I was nearly caught by whatever that crazy thing was, a major question popped into my head. Why did they suddenly appear? It seemed like they lived inside the ruined shacks, old houses, and even those completely unnoticed patches of grass. As soon as night fell, they came out. This led me to a truly bizarre hypothesis. Assuming these anomalous entities were actually the villagers or bizarre creatures from the village, then their living in this place made perfect sense. You saw that too, right? When those red eyes appeared, I expanded my crazy theory about the villagers. I wondered if the villagers, bound by some hidden rule, basically played normal people during the daytime, but at night, totally broke free of those restrictions to become monsters, eliminating any participants who broke the rules, like going outside or sleeping at night. Two key pieces of information completely confirmed my awesome deduction. First, during the daytime discussion, someone actually mentioned that villagers could go out at night. Clearly, the villagers were not afraid of the anomalies. The only logical reason they were not afraid was because they were the anomalies. Second, last night, I intentionally asked that creepy old man about the anomaly source. It was simply a clever test to verify my hypothesis. Logically, if anomalies were plaguing this village, why would he just ignore my questions? The fact that he refused to answer left only one single possibility. They were the anomalies. They obviously would not help us defeat themselves. I firmly believed my deduction was fundamentally correct. However, my theory instantly extinguished the hope that had just flared up in everyone. It is over. We cannot escape. Lena's face looked terrible. It was not that she did not believe me. It was precisely because she believed me that she felt this trial was completely impossible. Any single villager could probably wipe us out. How were we supposed to defeat all of them to finally pass the trial? Everyone complained for a while. Then the black-haired woman finally spoke up softly. Tell us, how do you exactly plan to deal with them? You must have a solid plan, right? Her words made everyone suddenly realize how terrifyingly calm I was, as if everything was perfectly under control. I did not answer immediately, but countered with a simple question. Have you noticed? There is something incredibly illogical about this village. Is it not way too quiet today? This morning, Wang Zhaochang screamed in absolute terror. Yet the only people who woke up were the players. Makes you think, right? Those monster villagers slept heavily. With their terrifying abilities, there is simply no way they would not notice. Stick with me. Let's crack this mystery. Remember how those strange villagers only woke up at dusk? Zero sunlight. So here is my second genius theory. During daytime, these strange villagers simply cannot or absolutely will not wake up. I'm betting they absolutely despise sunlight. This crazy trial has to give us some way out. Daytime is our golden opportunity. I didn't hold anything back. I laid it all out fast. Everyone just stood there silently processing my wild theories. My logic definitely sparked some hope for them. But even after thinking for minutes, nobody actually made a move. I finally broke the silence. To defeat these guys, just knowing they hide during daytime is simply not enough. I have a plan to totally eliminate them, but I need everyone's help. What should we do? Just say the word. One guy stepped up, making his stance super clear. We truly trust you to lead us. Does this mean fighting that scary spider? Lena asked softly. I nodded. Zero objections. Right then, everyone finally started genuinely trusting my lead. Quickly, our 7-person squad rushed back to that ruined house. Seeing that terrifying humanoid spider above their faces grew super grim. Just follow the exact plan I gave you earlier, I instructed. Everyone traded nervous glances before springing right into action. Why are you running outside? The pretty girl asked, completely shocked. Shouldn't girls definitely avoid doing all the crazy, dangerous work? But this is a magical trial, I countered. You're acting way too traditional. Protecting guys is your main duty here, got it? I playfully snapped. They were left totally speechless, turning right back to start the mission. Because I absolutely could not get hurt, let alone perish. Plus, I still held a hidden trump card. Now watch this carefully. Boom, they smashed the windows, letting bright sunlight flood the entire room. Everyone dashed out, watching cautiously. Suddenly, an absolutely terrifying screech echoed. Right after it sounded like a massive earthquake rocked the old place. The intense crashing made the whole structure totally shake. Those walls started fully collapsing. I carefully watched the neighboring houses. Just like I predicted, there was zero movement anywhere. During daytime, every single villager was locked under a very special magical restriction. They were forced into an incredibly deep slumber. Realizing this, I breathed a massive sigh of relief. My genius theory worked. But how would that terrifying spider react to sunlight? Would it perish or just get hurt? That loud scream was packed with pure pain. 2 minutes later, that old house essentially crumbled to absolute dust. The noise completely stopped, and the whole village went perfectly silent again. Everyone stared at me eagerly, awaiting orders. I paused for 5 minutes before speaking. Let's head inside and look around. If that beast is still kicking, retreat immediately. Everyone cautiously stepped forward together. Suddenly, Lena screamed wildly, ordering everyone to immediately retreat. Several people frantically scrambled away, but one girl was just a step too slow. From the deep shadows, a massive web shot out, wrapping super tightly around her thigh. She shrieked in pure terror, begging for rescue. Leto's squad quickly rushed in to help. Just then, the giant monster's incredibly spiked leg emerged. With a horrific slice, the poor girl's leg was cleanly severed by that razor-sharp spike. Though losing a limb was brutal, she survived. From the deep shadows, 8 massive spider legs slowly emerged. The giant spider monster, its glowing red eyes blazing furiously, lifted the severed piece right to its huge mouth, completely crushing it to paste before swallowing. The giant beast roared, asking if we were begging for ruin, and how dare we use sunlight. It screamed that it would show zero mercy and completely destroy us. Despite the horrific metallic smell and scary threats, I stood perfectly still. Using a surprisingly calm voice, I called out to my friends who were about to flee. I asked why they were panicking, pointing out the monster trying to eliminate us didn't even dare to chase. Everyone stopped, turning back toward it. It froze right at the doorway, refusing to pursue. I stared at the beast, laughing loudly, telling it to stop faking. I challenged it, saying normally if we broke rules, it would be absolutely thrilled to munch on us. Then I confidently glanced backward. You and I both see it, right? We can totally strike right now. Daylight severely weakened it. Sure, it cleanly sliced a leg in one quick move, but that only proves it has a tiny bit of fight remaining. Seeing they still felt too scared to strike, my expression darkened. I gave one final warning to go eliminate that beast right now. If you guys totally refuse my clear orders, I will just change my master plan and finish this wild trial entirely solo. My intense warning worked perfectly. Instead of merely surviving 7 days, they decided fighting this sun-weakened monster together was better. Following a brief moment of panic, everyone totally calmed down. Led by Lena, they finally turned around and confidently surrounded the giant spider. The massive spider stayed silent. A terrifying icy glare radiated from its head. Lena yelled to strike as they charged. The beast roared. "Trust me, you absolutely cannot miss this epic showdown. Stick with me here. You and I are about to watch Lena dodge toxic webs and some insanely sharp bone spikes right now." She fired back with a savage roundhouse kick directly into the spike. Crack one of the giant spider's long legs instantly snapped. Morale absolutely skyrocketed after that. Everyone unleashed a massive barrage of attacks, and the dark-haired woman easily snapped another sharp spike. Right now, those creepy spider legs were entirely busy fighting off Lena's fierce group. No legs left. Seeing a clear opening, one girl shouted that this was their chance. She lunged straight at the monster's head, but totally underestimated what happens next. The beast's bloated abdomen suddenly fired out webs like steel needles. Those webs effortlessly sliced the girl into little pieces. A tragic mess sprayed right across everyone's shocked faces. The whole team stood frozen in pure shock. During that tiny distraction, a huge bone spike violently slashed open a guy's shoulder. He screamed in agony and frantically rolled away. The spider smirked, fully planning to eliminate every single person there. Its plan seemed perfect, but suddenly its neck felt freezing cold. The creature's upper half abruptly lost all sensation. The spider slowly looked down, noticing a short dagger happily dancing in the air. Watch closely now, the monster didn't even realize its neck got completely severed. Both halves just crashed heavily down to the ground right before us. Taking off the monster's head, that bizarre dagger flew backward right into my hand. Telekinesis. The dark-haired woman literally gasped in disbelief while staring at me. Meanwhile, the monster's body instantly melted into a gross puddle of liquid. A strange soft black sphere appeared on the ground. As everyone stared, a helpful system prompt simply popped up. Spider Silk Orb, unranked mystic item, sprays inescapable silk. We just got awesome loot. Lena and that dark-haired woman's eyes instantly lit up with intense greed and pure excitement. They totally understood this item's insane value. Even the others who knew zero about mystic items easily guessed it was extraordinary and desperately wanted it. but I calmly stepped up and snatched the shiny mystic item right in front of their greedy eyes. I mumbled that this plays a crucial role in passing the trial. That super calculated sentence totally silenced anyone wanting to object. No matter how incredibly resentful they felt, they simply had to let it go. After all, I remained the only guy capable of getting everyone through this crazy trial. Glancing quickly at the item, I shoved it into my pocket without examining it further to completely avoid sparking any more jealousy. Honestly, compared to that new mystic item, I felt way more satisfied right now with the awesome dagger I got from Blacksmith Lee. While watching them fight that spider earlier, I remembered my newly awakened telekinesis skill and seriously wondered if I could use it in battle. Using telekinesis meant I wouldn't get hurt or be in any actual danger, so I tested controlling the sweet dagger Blacksmith Lee gave me. I honestly never expected it to be so incredibly nimble under my mental command. The cool dagger cut the air with a hum, spinning at speeds totally invisible to naked eyes. Acting purely on impulse, I mentally commanded the sharp dagger to strike the spider monster. You saw that, right? Taking out that beast was so effortless. Telekinesis was definitely my ultimate weapon here. Inside, I felt absolutely ecstatic, but Lena suddenly interrupted the moment. She complained we lost someone just fighting one spider and there are still countless infected villagers everywhere. How are we supposed to defeat them all? There are only 6 of us left standing and one guy has a broken leg. Seeing everyone's anxiety, I was fully prepared. I quickly gave them a strong dose of much-needed reassurance. Initially, I lacked confidence, but after crushing this spider, I guarantee with 100% certainty that we easily pass this trial. But that is enough action for today. Time is running out. The infected villagers will wake up in 2 or 3 hours. I promise we complete the trial and leave tomorrow, but the strict condition is that absolutely everyone, including myself, survives tonight. You absolutely must complete today's lodging conditions. Whatever happens, you better not fall tonight. Hearing that terrifying warning, no matter how unwilling they were, everyone was forced to endure one more night. Then the incredibly beautiful woman spoke up. She stated she might be speaking out of turn, but we definitely should discuss the plan. If something bad happens to me, what are they supposed to do? I coldly told her not to worry. I will absolutely survive tonight. I offered zero further explanation. The method to pass this trial was literally my hidden trump card. Revealing it meant losing total control over this crazy group. Why tell them now, denying them any chance to ask further questions or voice their loud doubts? I just turned and walked away. The moment I left their sight, my super confident facade totally crumbled into raw anxiety. In reality, I had 0% certainty about either surviving tonight or eventually passing this trial. That fierce expression was merely an act making everyone obediently cooperate. Having more people working together genuinely increased our incredibly slim odds of passing. It was just a shame almost everyone was gone. I remembered when we first entered the mystic world. 2 weird guys just walked off mumbling. So you and I are going to search the entire village next. Come along with me. In a village corner, right by an ancient house with crimson lanterns, I finally found them. It was that mysterious couple with blue markings. Seeing them, I got straight to the point. You two must be incredibly powerful fighters, right? Right then, both of them had terrible unhealed injuries. Clearly, surviving yesterday's lodging conditions had taken a huge toll on them. I will give you exactly 3 sentences. If you only speak nonsense, I will eliminate you, the blue-patterned man stated coldly. I smiled right back. Can you two survive 7 days here? First sentence, I found the main source of the anomaly in this village. The blue-patterned man's expression shifted. Before he could even respond, I quickly delivered my 3rd sentence. Just listen to me closely and tomorrow I can help you pass this trial. Hearing this, the blue-skinned woman sneered. You really think you can pass this rank trial in just 2 days, just you? I smiled, staying silent. The blue-skinned man spoke coldly. You come here spouting pure nonsense. You think I will not eliminate you. Is there any reason for me to lie? I countered back. Seeing how confident I looked, the blue-skinned man and woman finally got totally serious. They exchanged a quick look. The man dropped some of his icy attitude, frowning as he asked, All right then, tell us. What exactly is the source of the anomaly in this village? I repeated what I had told the others. You are saying the villagers themselves are the source. The blue-skinned man's expression suddenly shifted. Now pay attention. He thought for a moment. The probability is extremely high. What must we do? He asked impatiently. I spoke slowly. Wait for me right here tomorrow morning and follow every single one of my orders." The blue-skinned man just sneered. Suddenly, like a wild beast, he lunged right at me, his hands wrapping tightly around my throat. The lack of air instantly made my face flush. "Tell us everything you know," he laughed coldly, "or I will eliminate you right now." As expected, these two were not the kind of people you could just chat reasonably with. I only managed to squeeze out one sentence. "Listen to me and pass the trial or we all perish together. No one is surviving these 7 days." I wheezed, my voice super raspy. The blue-skinned man tightened his grip. I sneered, completely refusing to speak. Fierce intent flashed in his eyes, but quickly vanished, replaced by a sharp pain transferring from my body directly to his. He let go, just staring at me. "If we do not pass the trial tomorrow, I will finish you." I coughed twice. "If we do not pass tomorrow, we are basically done for anyway." It seemed we finally had an agreement. With 2 extra powerful fighters, our odds of survival just went up another notch. Mission accomplished, I left immediately. The way they looked at me made me feel incredibly uncomfortable. It was as if in their eyes we were not even the same species. I wondered if they were actual aliens. There were rumors online about exploration teams in the Mystic Continent encountering beings not from Earth, but those wild reports had never been officially verified. If those two were willing to talk, I really would have loved to chat with them and ask what this rank trial they mentioned actually meant. Did these trials have difficulty tiers? And we got dumped into an exceptionally hard one. Too bad those 2 fighters would never tell me. I know what you are thinking, but check this out. Finding a secluded corner, I tested the spider silk orb. It had unlimited uses, but dealt absolutely 0 damage. Its sole characteristic was being unbelievably durable. After fully testing it, I took a quick nap. I really needed to conserve my energy for tonight. When I woke up and headed back, the 5 remaining players were already waiting at the rendezvous point. The evening sun had finally set. The villagers opened their doors one by one. Seeing us waiting there, they eagerly sized us up. Spotting only 6 people left, they could not help but look totally disappointed. At that moment, the old village chief spoke gently. "It is time to find lodging for the night. You still have to fulfill the conditions just like yesterday." Everyone exchanged nervous glances. Regarding tonight's lodging conditions, after several discussions and sharing intel, most people had a solid plan and locked in their choices early. As for me, my target was still the creepy old man. After all, the ledger showed a lot of people owed him big time. Finding a place with a lower risk factor was vastly superior to facing the terrifying unknown. I was the very first to move. My target was the old woman, the one Lena had completed a task for yesterday. She had borrowed a bamboo hat from the creepy old man and never even returned it. After confirming my target, I looked up at the choices of the others and was completely stunned. The incredibly beautiful woman was not there. I guess she had gone to find the drunkard again. The only other surviving guy besides me had chosen the widow and her son, the second most dangerous entity after the village chief. Now what do you make of this? The crippled woman chose the farmer. Lena picked the big meat-eating woman and the black-haired girl chose the village chief. Black hair, do you want to get wiped out? That thought instantly popped into my head. Stick with me, I really wanted to warn her, but she already chose. It wasn't my place to make her second-guess herself now. I could only hope that everyone safely made it through the long, mysterious night. I took a breath, stood up, and marched over to the old woman's place, totally unwilling to waste even a single second. Seeing me approach, she tried to speak, but I jumped in. "Ma'am, I am here to grab that bamboo hat for someone else." The old lady just looked completely confused. What bamboo hat? I quickly flashed the mysterious ledger at her, waiting cautiously to see her reaction. She finally remembered, "Oh, that. Go inside and find it. It is resting in a chest, but there are several identical chests in there. Don't pick the wrong one. If you mess up and something happens, I am not taking any responsibility." Saying that, she flashed a very wide, creepy grin. With narrow eyes and a wild smile on her thin face, she looked like a hungry phantom. Just as expected, these spooky creatures were constantly targeting us. I chuckled, feeling a bit braver, and walked right into the house. Tucked in the corners sat 4 completely identical red wooden chests. Sweeping my gaze across the first ones, a massive wave of danger hit me. The second box felt slightly less risky. The third one still radiated a super scary energy. But the fourth one, absolutely 0 danger at all. Watch closely now, it is in this one. Turns out my epic 6th sense is actually the perfect secret cheat code to loot items. I boldly reached out to pop open that chest. Meanwhile, out in a spooky courtyard, weird chickens and ducks with human teeth let out joyful cries. They were frantically pecking at mysterious scraps scattered everywhere. The injured lady had vanished without a trace. Down at the mysterious store, the long-haired girl walked right up to the super creepy owner. "I am here to grab oil for the chief," she said. The spooky man gave a dark chuckle. "Did you bring the item?" Elsewhere, poor Lena stood before the large lady looking pale and totally exhausted. The giant woman was happily sharpening a rusty, chipped meat cleaver, constantly wiping away the drool that kept slipping from her smiling mouth. "I will slice very gently. It won't hurt, don't worry," she said, trembling with pure excitement. Meanwhile, I became the first to finish the task. When I stepped out rocking that bamboo hat, an old priest sitting right by the door completely froze. His face twisted up. A super intense, scary aura wrapped around me. "How did you get that? Just got lucky. Casually popped a chest and found it," I said calmly, pointing at the hat. The old priest just glared, totally speechless. I asked, "Sir, can I go?" His face darkened. Fine, he clearly could not hide his massive fury and heavy disappointment. It was hilarious that, bound by the strict rules, he could not do a thing. "You saw that too, right?" Out of his sight, I panted, wiping cold sweat. I had serious guts stealing that. I reached deep into my pocket. A weird glass vial resembling a syringe suddenly appeared. I originally planned to bounce immediately, but this bizarre item was also hiding in the chest. Naturally, my teenage curiosity made me snatch it up. Instantly, a bright notification popped up, a vial containing strange liquid. It looks super valuable. Expert appraisers in Illusion City can identify it. No idea what Illusion City even was, but seeing the word valuable, I obviously had to take it. Returning to that creepy old guy's place, he stared at my bamboo hat in absolute pure shock.
"You got it again?"
He snatched the hat, eyeing me with major hostility, and finally laughed coldly. "You are nearing your final end." I said nothing. My absolute last night here. I never planned on staying all 7 days. Entering the house, I rested. Despite feeling incredibly sleepy, I forced myself awake until dawn. Plus, I needed to confirm a big secret tonight. Time flew into the late night. The whole village went so quiet you could hear the breeze blowing. Still, I totally sensed the village paths swarming with spooky creatures flashing glowing red eyes. They were eagerly waiting for us 6 to just fall asleep. Suddenly, a chilling wind swept through the house. The flickering lamp totally blew out. Instantly, the room plunged into pitch black and absolute spooky silence. I frowned, chuckling bravely. Right on perfect cue, immediately after a heavy wave of sleepiness crashed into me. Taking a deep breath to stay awake, I grabbed 2 wooden sticks I had burned into charcoal earlier. Using telekinesis, Gel's dagger spun fast against a floor rock. Bright sparks flew, landing perfectly on the tinder, resting right over the charcoal. Soon a flame beautifully erupted. Instantly, the dark and silent room lit up bright. And guess what? We saw the creepy old man standing backward doing something totally crazy. "All right, stick with me. You are about to watch him panic." He snapped around, saw the torch, and shrieked. "When did you bring fire in here? I just played dumb. Is there a problem?" "Put it out, but if I do, I will get sleepy. Besides, I broke absolutely 0 rules, right? I only lit a torch." The old guy looked furious. Grabbing a spark tool from the corner cabinet, he desperately relit that creepy oil lamp. Light flooded the creepy room once again. Seeing this, I quickly blew out my torch. The old guy relaxed a tiny bit. Just as he glared at me with those cold eyes about to speak, I totally interrupted him. "Sir, this lamp oil, it is monster oil, right?" The old guy sneered. "So what if it is?" I smiled. "Oh, nothing. Just curious." The old guy shot me an incredibly weird, gloomy stare, completely giving up on saying anything else. I strolled over to the window, staring out into the misty night. Sadly, it was too dark to see anything. Right then, my wildest theory was absolutely proven correct. That endless, stressful night finally ended. Pulling together every single ounce of my leftover energy, I took a huge breath and walked outside. The morning sunshine hitting the village still felt super cold and gross, but unlike yesterday, the streets were completely empty of any tragic mess. Watch closely because you and I are about to see that most folks actually survived the night conditions. Right after I walked outside, that mysterious woman with long dark hair also slipped out of the chief's place. The one-eyed guy slowly wandered out of a tiny hut. Meanwhile, Lena, looking incredibly pale and terrified, was shaking intensely as she stumbled out of the large woman's creepy house. Just seconds later, that gorgeous woman, looking totally exhausted and pale, dragged herself over to our circle. We hung around for a bit, but the girl with the injured leg never showed up. She was clearly gone. I sighed, checking the crew. Surviving yesterday's test cost them an absolutely massive toll. Can we please get moving now? The pretty woman begged, her voice trembling. I refuse to stay in this horrible village for another second. I will not make it to the afternoon, Lena pleaded with me too, her weak body trembling like she might just faint right there. Her clothes looked terribly stained, beaten and beaten. Weirdly enough, the guy stayed completely silent until I realized that along with losing an eye, his voice was totally gone too. Besides me, the absolute only person looking totally fine was that dark-haired woman who stayed with the village chief. I stared at her thinking really hard about this mystery. She was absolutely hiding something big. I glanced around at the exhausted group and spoke slowly. Before we hit the grocery store, I need to ask a serious question. What question? Just ask it, they replied. Right now, everyone was acting super incredibly cooperative. To make it through the night, they gave up literally everything. Just look at Lena. Missing a hand now, if she faced a tough room challenge, she would have totally failed. So yesterday, she picked the big lady. Even though she had to give up a piece of herself, at least she safely made it out. You and I both know they have zero chance of making it until tomorrow anyway. Because of that, whatever I suggested, they had to just follow along. Seeing their faces, I spoke up slowly. Did anyone use fire last night? The whole group just stared at each other, looking super confused. Then the dark-haired woman finally answered. When the lights shut off, I got insanely sleepy, so I actually followed your tip and sparked a torch. Because of that, the grumpy chief quickly relit his lamp and made me extinguish my fire. Just like I guessed, I smirked proudly. These creepy things fear fire. I proved it myself last night. Combining the old guy's panic with her story, I am totally sure these monsters hate fire. Right now, I felt way more confident about beating this crazy test. Next stop, the grocery store. I bet they stash tons of lamp oil inside. We just grab that oil, drench every single house one by one, and then team up to light this whole creepy village ablaze. Turn these monsters to ash in one giant blast. Then this trial is finally done. I flashed a brave smile, dropping my master plan. But honestly, even though I hyped them up, I knew deep down this twisted game would absolutely not finish that smoothly. So all 5 weary survivors marched toward the grocery store. Along the path, that weird couple with blue patterns waiting by the road tagged along. Once they joined up, the couple completely ignored anyone trying to chat, just throwing me this super icy glare before quietly drifting to the very back of our little group. Very quickly, our whole crew reached the grocery store. I just stood outside the huge structure brainstorming for a quick second before talking slowly. Based on my logic, smashing into a regular villager's place to steal without asking is definitely going to break some hidden rule. Even if they sleep all day long, I cannot promise that nothing bad will happen. That harsh warning totally splashed freezing cold water all over the group's temporary excitement. So what do you and I make of this? They are stuck staring at the most dangerous building imaginable. Let us dive right in. Everyone trying to fulfill that lodging condition got eliminated except the black-haired girl. Covered in deep wounds and unable to fight at max power, nobody wanted to risk everything. I will go. Your mind is still completely sharp. You are coming with me. Breaking the heavy silence, the black-haired girl spoke. She pointed not at me, but the terrified guy missing an eye and his tongue. His face shifted wildly through so many emotions, his gaze darting between me and the blue-patterned couple. Seeing that absolutely none of us were moving an inch, he finally knew he was forced to go. He gritted his teeth and nodded. Before they went inside, I sternly warned them both. Once you grab the oil, come straight back out. Do not do anything extra. Then the 2 of them entered the store. We stood at the door, waiting extremely anxiously. This single step was absolutely crucial. We had to secure that lamp oil. Failing here was definitely not an option. Time ticked by agonizing second. 5 minutes later, the door finally opened. Everyone held their breath, staring intensely. The people stepping out were indeed the black-haired girl and that guy from before. They were each carrying a genuinely massive jug of oil. The shop owner was completely asleep. It went so smoothly, the black-haired girl confidently reported. The guy beside her wiped the cold sweat away, putting the oil jug down and sighing in massive relief like he just narrowly escaped total disaster. I sighed in relief too, just about to explain the next phase of the plan when something genuinely bizarre suddenly happened. Now watch closely, things get totally wild. The guy who was just smiling completely froze, grabbing his throat and letting out a sound of pure panic. He convulsed violently as if utterly suffocating. Seconds later, the black-haired girl met the exact same fate. Her face turned crimson, agonizingly clutching her throat. "Oh no!" she gasped incredibly hoarsely, immediately after a truly horrifying scene unfolded. Starting from the tops of their heads, both of them began melting like burning candles right before our eyes. Hair, clothes, tissue, and skin dissolved bit by bit at a terrifying speed completely visible to the naked eye. In an instant, only two foul-smelling puddles of thick, dark liquid remained exactly where they stood. While everyone was still reeling in total shock, another wild anomaly occurred. Inside the black-haired girl's dark puddle, a glowing red cloth doll suddenly appeared. The doll emitted a glowing red aura and rapidly expanded, transforming the very next second into an exact living replica of the black-haired girl standing a few meters away, completely unharmed. Right then, the black-haired girl looked totally terrified, staring at that dark puddle, her wide eyes revealing intense, clear agony. That was my special item, the scapegoat doll. Now it is totally gone. Earlier, I felt like a massive fire was burning inside me. "You see the stakes, right?" Everyone stared in absolute horror. I coldly stated, "This is the strict punishment for breaking the rules." This dark conclusion made the panicked group turn entirely pale, terrified of vanishing exactly like those cursed monsters. The theory of breaking the village rules was indeed the most likely. Looking at their utterly terrified faces, I spoke slowly. "If the penalty for breaking rules was not this terrifying, those hidden monsters would have devoured us ages ago." Right then, the blue-patterned guy interrupted my explanation. "No need for extra talking. Now that we finally have the stuff, what is the next step?" To him, whether it was some underground entity or strict village rules, he did not care. He only cared about surviving and finishing this trial. I sighed softly and replied, "The next step is actually very simple. We just need to pour this oil into all the houses in this village. Once we pour all the oil, quickly set a massive fire to the houses on the street. These village houses are all built of straw and dry wood, making them super flammable. Lighting one simple spark will make it spread incredibly fast. Once you finish your assigned task, immediately come back here to regroup." Hearing my confident plan, the five of them nodded solemnly. The blue-patterned couple formed one group, Lena and I formed another, and the mysterious black-haired girl teamed up with the incredibly beautiful woman. The operation officially began. Lena was injured, but it never affected her mobility. This quickly made me realize that her pale face and claims of not lasting the afternoon were all completely fake. But as she tried to climb onto a roof, her shocking injury was exposed. On her right thigh, from the knee to the hip, the muscle was entirely missing. From the hip, fresh crimson drops slowly dripped right down onto the stark white bone that had been picked surprisingly clean. My face instantly turned grim. I had no idea what kind of insane resolve Lena had to muster just to face that terrifying obese woman. After nearly half an hour of frantic, exhausting work, Lena and I had successfully slathered oil onto a full dozen houses on our street. "I really hope this fire solves everything," I muttered to myself. Then Lena and I split up. Not long after, two roaring fires began spreading through the village. Lena and I were naturally the first to return to the rendezvous point. From right here, we could clearly see the other two streets were blazing wildly over there too. Trust me, things are heating up. Everything went to plan, and soon everyone gathered as the freezing village suddenly became incredibly lively. Flames roared, spreading an intense, searing heat everywhere. That thick smoke completely covered up the awful stench of the ruined village. Stick with me. We're about to watch this crazy mystery unfold. Our entire group stood perfectly still, waiting for whatever came next. "Why the serious face? Worried this fire won't be enough to fix things?" Lena suddenly asked me. Everyone immediately turned to look at me. I stayed super quiet before finally sighing. If I'm right, someone else is going to fall. The very second those words left my mouth, wild noises exploded from the massive inferno. Huge waves of roaring and frantic screams ripped through the air. The fire had definitely awakened the villagers. They panicked, completely terrified inside that massive sea of flames. The volume of their screams just kept multiplying fast. Those strange noises started out sounding totally human, but they quickly warped into bizarre, monster-like shrieks. That creepy, hollow, and super loud noise completely echoed all around the once quiet little village. Hearing that wild, roaring inferno, it honestly felt like we had just dropped straight into the 18th level of the abyss. But honestly, all of this was still right on schedule. As the fire kept burning, those creepy sounds got louder, but the numbers quickly dropped. Clearly, the villagers were getting wiped out. Right then, Lena and the stunning woman looked totally thrilled, even though they were practically out of energy. They were completely exhausted. The dark-haired girl just stared into the huge flames, thinking deeply about something. Meanwhile, the blue pattern guy and his teammate exchanged a look. Is an S-rank trial really this simple? What kind of epic loot will we get? I was the only one keeping my cool. I didn't say a word. My eyes were totally locked on the dark fog rising from the collapsing, burning houses. Now watch closely here. I spotted it when the screaming finally stopped. The fog seemed to pull straight from the fallen monsters, and this dark mist definitely wasn't clearing up at all. It kept twisting and merging with other streams of shadow. A huge wave of danger and pure anxiety flashed through my mind. Of course, nobody in our group was blind. Once that mist grew big enough, the others who had totally relaxed because things were going well finally realized that we were in major trouble. "We are finished! What is that?" "Do you think I'm some overpowered wizard?" I sneered back. "Listen, torching those creepy villagers gave us the absolute best advantage we could ever ask for. Whatever comes next is just up to fate." A bright white light suddenly flashed from my pocket. My telekinesis was fully active. The blue pattern guy gave me a weird look, then instantly shifted into defensive stance. The dark mist just kept building up. Once the village stopped releasing it, the giant cloud of shadow finally stopped growing. We waited there a few minutes. Then that solid-looking fog suddenly started growing all over again. It was expanding at completely terrifying speed. In an instant, it completely swallowed the sky and the entire village. Just before covering us, that massive shadow cloud exploded with a crazy boom. I felt super dizzy, my vision spinning and ears ringing. I know what you are thinking. Are we done for? I rubbed my eyes, totally confused, but no, I wasn't completely blind. I was trapped in the fog. Too dark to see anything. I braced myself, whispering, "Can anyone hear me?" I yelled it loudly. "I hear you. Just barely, I can't see. Yeah, we are all trapped in this pitch-black mist." Lena and the rest answered one by one. They sounded pretty close, meaning nobody had really moved yet. "Stand back to back, use my voice as a guide. Slowly walk toward me. Do not get separated anywhere," I shouted nervously. They quickly agreed. Nobody could stay calm dealing with this insane crisis. Thanks to my earlier smart plans, everyone was totally ready to listen. But right as they started moving, a panicked scream tore through the air. "What is that?" Help, it was the stunning girl. Her shout got cut off fast. Then out of the silent dark mist, a super weird, sickening sound echoed out. It honestly sounded like something chewing. I could picture it perfectly. Some mysterious beast had grabbed the beautiful woman in its massive jaws and was attacking her. In the absolute darkness, that crunching was wild and terrifying. A heavy, suffocating pressure hit the whole squad. Right then, that robotic system voice we hadn't heard in forever suddenly chimed in. "Attention, all players, attention. They broke the trial world to win. Trust me, we need to see what's next." All right, you and I are diving into an incredibly mysterious plot twist today. Losing their physical forms did zero damage to their spirits. Now these monstrous spectral beings hold massive resentment toward our cheerful apprentices for completely wrecking them. As a result, they merged into one unbelievably powerful super entity. Only by defeating all apprentices can this anger fade. Currently, this wild trial completely outscales what our brave heroes can actually handle. The trial difficulty adjusts in 60 seconds. After 1 minute, our brave apprentices will be safely pulled straight out of this bizarre world. Apprentices, please survive for 60 seconds. That mystic realm prompt finally cleared up their incredibly confusing situation. But right after that sudden clarity, sheer panic struck. Way beyond their skills. Those villagers earlier were totally manageable. So just how insanely overpowered was this new super monster? 60 seconds sounds super fast, but hearing that sinister warning, 1 or 2 more people were definitely going to get completely wiped out. Who would become the unlucky target? My heavy heart totally dropped. Even though I cleverly guessed a massive twist was coming at the end, I never imagined it being this overwhelmingly unstoppable and wild at the finish. Now pay attention here. How could I avoid this terrifying monster for 60 seconds? Suddenly, a chilling premonition of absolute doom hit me super hard. "Oh no!" I dramatically shouted in pure panic. Scatter, run, far away, do not stand close to each other. The exact moment those words left my mouth, I sprinted away incredibly fast, but my teenage physical constitution was honestly just a bit weak. I barely took a single step when a massive force slammed right into me. My leg went numb and a freezing, chilling sensation shot everywhere. That crazy impact launched me dozens of meters into the air. I rolled several times before finally coming to a dramatic stop. When I gathered my scattered wits, a bone-deep agony hit hard, nearly making me faint. Next second, I let out a dramatic, agonizing scream. This hurts. It hurts so much. My right leg is completely gone. It got chewed off. My incredibly pathetic screams echoed loudly before suddenly getting cut short. I forcefully used pure logic to suppress my dramatic panic and boldly endure the pain because that terrifying sense of danger was there. Holding the stump of my missing leg cold, sweat poured down as I bravely looked around. However, despite the escalating crisis, I totally failed to find a single trace of the creepy monster inside that pitch-black fog. I strongly felt that I was its main target. What should I do? Is there any clever way to survive? My mind raced valiantly, trying to maintain maximum composure. Relying on my weapons was totally out of the question. My weapon got completely knocked away, and my intuition, while amazing for warnings, was basically useless in an actual fight. Wait! I still have the magical spider silk orb. I excitedly pulled it out and fired in every direction. Streams of spider silk blasted out blindly. Front is clear, right is clear. Then I watched several webs of white silk shoot to the left and hang beautifully suspended in the dark. They clearly caught onto something huge. That writhing shadow in the darkness was the monster. You saw that outline too, right? I sighed in pure relief, but my hands kept firing. I continuously blasted massive amounts of webbing, desperately trying to hinder its creepy movements, to buy myself those precious dozen seconds, but I was being incredibly optimistic. Spider webs totally work on normal creatures, but this horrifying boss was literally formed by the chaotic amalgamation of an entire mystic village. The sticky silk wrapping around its huge body did absolutely nothing whatsoever. That terrifying creature just reached out and shredded those webs easily. Tangled chunks hit the ground. This smart monster seemingly knew we were on a tight clock. It stopped tearing incoming webs, just confidently letting them stick to its massive body as its scary silhouette crept closer and closer to my position. The premonition of absolute doom was incredibly intense, but I was completely powerless. I am finished. My face showed pure despair. I bravely worked so hard to calculate and plan every single possibility, only to end up paving the way for someone else. But right as I surrendered to pure despair, another insanely dramatic twist suddenly happened. Suddenly, in the endless darkness, a blindingly epic fire erupted. Before I could even see it clearly, a bright flash shot toward me, slamming absolutely perfectly into the giant spiderwebs right in front of me. It was a fiery ball wrapped around some bizarre, mysterious object. With a massive whoosh, the brilliant flames incinerated everything and rapidly engulfed the creepy monster reaching from the dark. Instantly, that brilliant firelight completely illuminated the vast, starry night. I finally got a crystal-clear look. It was a pitch-black, faceless creature covered in creepy, glowing tumors strangely shaped exactly like horrifying human heads. It packed 3 massive mouths completely filled with long fangs, looking entirely distorted and terrifying. Scorched by the flames, the monster halted completely. It unleashed agonizing roars, desperately trying to rip the fire right off its huge body. I quickly looked into the distance. It was the blue-patterned man. Consider the debt totally paid, he coldly declared, continuing his retreat. Trust me, you and I just witnessed a miracle. I sat there totally stunned. Stick with me here, you are about to see how I escaped this nightmare using just spider silk. The flames vanished in seconds. Those screaming stars went completely quiet too. The dark void returned to its absolute chilling silence. I huddled in the corner, holding my breath, staying hyper-alert to my dark surroundings. Right now, even though that intense danger seemed gone, the countdown clock had not finished. I knew if that beast found me again, it was absolutely game over for me. I highly doubted a second fireball would magically save me, so all I could really do was pray. Praying it would target someone else. Between my racing heartbeat, the agonizing pain shooting through my leg, and a whirlwind of pure anxiety, time seemed to crawl slower than ever. How could one single minute feel this excruciatingly long? Please hurry up. During that agonizing wait, a sickeningly familiar chewing sound echoed again. Someone else was eliminated. But who the blue pattern guy, Lena, the black-haired girl, or another player entirely, my mind was absolutely racing with panic. Suddenly, that overwhelming sense of doom rushed right back. I looked up in total horror. Now watch closely. 3 massive jaws packed with razor-sharp teeth literally materialized right before my eyes. They lunged straight at my face, smelling like absolute decay. I squeezed my eyes tightly shut, bracing for the brutal impact on my skull. But the strike never hit. Instead, a crisp mechanical chime broke through the darkness. Ding! 1 minute has finished. Extracting surviving players now. Those monstrous jaws instantly snapped on thin air as my entire body suddenly dissolved into a blinding pillar of white light. That heavy, suffocating fog, the terrifying shrieks, and the agonizing pain of my missing leg totally vanished. I did not wake up on my sofa right away. Instead, I found myself floating inside a peaceful, starry void. A giant holographic screen materialized right in front of me. Glowing text scrolled by rank trial, the anomaly village completed. Overall score SS, calculating survivor status. I held my breath, eyes glued to the screen. I desperately needed to know who actually survived that nightmare. Total participants across all groups 36, total survivors 4. My heart honestly skipped a beat. Out of everyone, just 4 of us survived that final agonizing minute. The names flickered right onto the screen. Apprentice 19679. Wait, that is me, next apprentice Lena. She actually made it out despite losing a hand and taking that brutal leg injury. Her raw willpower and survival instincts were terrifying. Apprentice Yifan blue pattern guy. He survived. But you and I both know what happened next. That sickening chewing sound from the dark. Yeah, that was definitely his female companion. Next, Sumuk Shea, the black-haired woman. That quiet, observant girl who bravely teamed up with the village chief. She was definitely hiding some major secrets and super powerful items. I just let out a heavy sigh. The guy missing an eye didn't make it. Neither did that stunningly beautiful woman. This mystic world system was truly just a ruthless, unforgiving meat grinder. Rewards distributed sixth sense talent permanently awakened in real life. Physical evolution process initiated. Complete purple fog immunity secured, plus an additional double S rank reward. Telekinesis and the spider silk orb permanently bound to my soul. Before I could fully process these massive rewards, the starry void suddenly shattered like fragile glass. I gasped, my eyes instantly snapping open. I was lying back on the soft plush sofa inside my own living room. That sleek black helmet from the mystic world still rested heavily on my head. I frantically ripped it off, chest heaving as I sucked in greedy lungfuls of clean, sweet-smelling air. I frantically grabbed my right leg. Thank goodness it was there, perfectly intact, warm and completely whole again. The phantom pain lingered for a split second before vanishing completely. It was replaced by a surging, explosive strength coursing powerfully right through my veins. The system's physical evolution at work. I felt lighter, faster, and infinitely stronger than the average 21st century otaku I used to be. Brother, you are finally awake. A sweet, panicked voice called out. Li Wanqing rushed in from the kitchen, her gorgeous face absolutely filled with deep concern and sheer adoration. She knelt by the sofa, very carefully keeping her distance to avoid breaking those strict harassment laws, while her beautiful eyes welled up with tears. You were sweating so much. Did everything go okay in there? I prepared a massive feast for you. I looked at her perfect features. Then I glanced out the window at the peaceful, vibrant city below. It was a world teeming with billions of stunning women who would pay astronomical fortunes just to catch a glimpse of me. A slow, genuine smile spread warmly across my face. I reached out and gently took Li Wanqing's soft hand, pulling her up completely, ignoring those strict rules simply because I could. It was a bit of a nightmare, I said softly, relaxing into the comfortable cushions. But honestly, it was completely worth it. I suddenly thought of Lena, the black-haired girl, and that blue pattern guy. We will definitely cross paths again, but right now you and I can just let those horrifying monsters rot forever in their cursed virtual hellscape. Stick with me. I beat their dangerous game, survived, and claimed my ultimate prize. The fierce trial of Anomaly Village was finally over. Watch my new reality unfold. Trust me, a life of absolute supremacy, limitless power, and crazy luxury in this world was just beginning.